All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report Town Hall session. Let's bring up your feedback. We're talking about campaign decorum and how to ensure that the tongue is maintained at a level where there's no inflammatory remarks and there's no tension being raised in the country. 35 days to go to the polls. Let's bring up what you're saying online at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Monday Report. Agumba Steve says, let the church play its role by praying for peace as politics takes shape. Okay? Let's see what else is going on here. Nyantika Chester says, whether we like it or not, world over, presidents and leaders have and will always have keen interest in their succession. And as such, ours isn't any different. Perhaps the difference is the manner in which these leaders engage in their succession discourse. Okay? Let's see what else you're saying here. At Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Monday Report. There's a lot of feedback coming through there. We'll bring up some of them as that happens in just a bit, but keep them coming. And Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Monday Report. I'll get back to that in just a bit. But Connor, we're talking about the burden of proof, okay? So you've said that NCIC is monitoring the kinds of rhetorics that's going on across the country. But what does it really take for then a conversation to lead to maybe conviction or even some impact of some sorts? What would it take? After the clip is played, the recording is played, even right now, there's always a conversation about possible digital editing. What does it take for you to pin something and say this is wrong and this should be prosecuted? Yeah,
as I already said, we are present in almost every significant political rally in Kenya today in terms of the people who are collecting evidence physically, those who are also recording. And I will say it's a multi-sectoral team that is doing that work. I will not delve into the details of one particular case because all cases as they are, those that have come into the public limelight and those that are not yet in the public limelight will be cases that are of interest to my commission, NCIC.
Yeah.
So describing or defining how we will deal with any of them will first of all be preemptive in terms of, especially if those cases come to us as a commission or reach the point at which we need to summon the people involved.
Yeah.
So to that extent, I'll restrain commenting on specific cases because of that reality that we are interested in what is happening and we might be the people who will be called upon to intervene in each case. And any statements that I make now, because ours is also a legal process,
yeah,
may prejudice what might come out at the end of it all.
Okay.
But suffices to say, we collect evidence, even including the one for recordings. The only challenge we have as a country is we don't have audio and people can analyze voices as quickly as we want them. That's one of the capacities that we want to strengthen under this plan of action on management of hate speech that we managed last time. Because at the moment, it is not an easy undertaking for anyone to prove that the recording has been tampered with or the voice belongs to the person that is presumed to belong to. So that is one area that we are currently working hard to strengthen, not just as a commission, but it's a requirement in the whole country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and does this also include vernacular? And have you seen some sort of conversations that are now taking a different kind of tone, especially in the vernacular areas?
If you study the process of hate speech, especially in Kenya, yeah, over the last 15 or so years, most of the hate speech has migrated from the physical space, like rallies and places where we expect people to speak bad about others, to the new media, social media, and it is very prevalent in what you have mentioned, the vernacular radio stations. As you recall, we had to pull down some WhatsApp groups early this year because there are people who are perpetrating a lot of hate speech under the social media.
Yeah.
And also, we find it as a commission very difficult to track the issues of hate speech on social media, especially electronic media, because most of the people use either pseudonyms or some of them even operate outside the country, and they continue to perpetuate hate speech locally here through those electronic means. That's why we are migrating most of our focus as an institution to make sure we are able to get to know what is happening in all these vernacular stations. You recall one of the vernacular stations was actually a case in The Hague, in the ICC, in the 2007-2008 post-election violence. And since then, we've not relented in tracking even the vernacular radio stations and other media that are available. So technology has accelerated, and not only accelerated the use of hate speech in social media and so on, but it has also created a new complication in terms of how you generate evidence, electronic evidence, and also how you're able to corroborate some of the things that are brought on the table. But it's something that we are putting as a high priority going forward in our journey to make sure Kenya is a hate-free society.
Yeah. And Reverend, as we close on this conversation now, what should Kenyans focus on, and what should they do to ensure now that there's a bit of campaign decorum from the leaders and also the Kenyans themselves who are listening to these conversations and taking the conversations further?
First of all, let me just make a quick comment on somebody who said the church should just pray and allow the political discourse to happen. The church is not just a body corporate. The church is also the members themselves. And if this country is truly 80% Christians, then the church has a big stake in the politics of a nation. And yesterday in my sermon, which you can find it online, I actually emphasized on that. Although we are not part of the government, we also influence society in a very big way. And I don't want to enumerate the role of the church in education, in healthcare, and other spheres of the public. Therefore, we cannot just be left to be told that we need to pray only. No, we have an active role to play. We don't want to wait until Kenya is on fire, then you start asking, where is the church? No, we want to be involved before, during, and after the elections. I want to agree with some that now we are shifting from the physical abuse of platforms to the online one. And I want to agree that is true. So to answer your question, what should Kenyans now do? There are many videos you're going to receive between now and the 9th of August. That is definite, it's going to happen. Even the videos and audios that we are receiving now, more and more, they are targeted towards either someone or against someone. Therefore, you are going to get many. Before you forward any message, audio or video, ask yourselves, is it true? Number two is, what harm does it cause another person? If you ask yourself a set of questions before you trigger send, it will actually help in curbing the spread of hate speech. And especially if it is something to do with another tribe, another group, be careful, even at an individual level. Because each one of us have a responsibility to hold this country together. But can I say this? It is true, any political election is divisive. Even political leaders have their interests. And politics is about interest. However, the way it is done, you don't need to hate the other person, to say something against the other person that harms or injures them or injures their families. Let us sell our manifestos, our ideas, the promises we have for Kenyans, and let the Kenyans decide. Trevor, yesterday in my sermon, I talked about a meter. and it can be found online on the Cathedral website. It's a meter for us to use as Kenyans to gauge the kind of leaders we need to elect. And one of the things that we need to measure is their level of blamelessness.
Yeah.
How are they able to respect human dignity? And what I said yesterday, and I want to repeat on television, is before you even evaluate another leader or a political leader that you are about to vote, evaluate yourself as a Kenyan first. If you realize you are better than the political leader you are about to elect, then you should have offered yourself for an election.
Okay.
We need to use that meter to engage with the people we are about to elect. Otherwise, hate speech doesn't build a nation.
Okay.
Let us be involved in the discourse of choosing the right leaders.
All right.
And the emphasis I made yesterday is you can have the right president at the top. If you miss it at the MCA, gubernatorial, women representative, the two parliaments, then this country will not hold.
Okay.
Countries that have grown have held on institutions, and our constitution in chapter 15 has institutions that can hold a country.
Okay.
Even when the leadership at the top is not right.
All right. Commissioner, closing remarks.
I think for me is to inform Kenyans that the preparedness for this election is robust. Most institutions are put in place the necessary measures to deal with any disturbance that might arise. So apart from monitoring hate speech by NCIC, you know the Chief Justice has established 5 courts to deal specifically with hate speech cases and election-related problems. You hear so many messages of peace and peace messaging across the country, caravans and so forth. And the Kenyan people also, in our engagement with them, have the resolve to have a peaceful country, to have a peaceful election. And I think this time, contrasted to the past, the Kenyan people are more empowered to resist any form of political manipulation that may come, and also reject politicization of individual differences and escalating those differences to the point of becoming, first of all, tribal and then political. And as NCIC, we've emphasized the question of decorum in campaigns through our political accountability and decency charter. We are emphasizing the word decency because we need to remain civil to each other. And I think based on the context that you started with, we also add the word respect. It appears many times in our political decency charter that you need to respect the institutions that are there. You need to respect each other as political leaders. And you also need to respect the Kenyan people, such that if you get a platform to campaign, you campaign on the basis of what you are going to deliver and not spewing things that may affect relationship between groups or create disharmony among communities.
All right. We have to leave it there. Thank you so much for making time. Reverend Sami Wanaina, All Saints Cathedral Provost. Yes, Rev.
Can I also tell the IBC, kindly conduct credible election? Because sometimes when institutions that have been entrusted with election don't manage them well, it can also cause a lot of problems. So back to the institutions, they are the best foundation of a nation.
All right. Thank you so much for making time this evening. Reverend Sami Wanaina, All Saints Cathedral Provost, and Sam Corner, NCIC Commissioner. Asante sana for making time. Let's read some of the feedback really quick. Had a technical hitch earlier on. Let's see if we can figure this out. Lepario says, with 35 days to go for Kenyans to exercise their democratic rights to vote in August 9th, how will religious institutions and NCIC Kenya take meaningful action to flag off political leaders who accelerate political intolerance? They've already answered that question. Let's see what else is there as we wind up on this conversation now. Nyantika Chester says, whether we like it or not, world over, presidents, leaders have always had keen interest on their succession. That is what we mentioned earlier on. Let's leave it there for now. My name is Trevor Ombija. It's always a pleasure having you with us. Bye for now.